StraightallDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Topic of this conversation here is, what are you worth? And this goes right on the heels of what I talked about in the last video, where I was talking about why your confidence matters more than your competence. And you become your thoughts. Your life is going to be a reflection of your thoughts, not just what you do, but how other people perceive you and respond to you. This one is about your worth, and what I mean by that is many of us are familiar with this concept of knowing your value and knowing your worth. I remember years ago, this is probably about 10 years ago, I was dating this female, very attractive woman, and she was, this was in like North Miami Beach, Miami, and she was telling me how, prior to meeting me, she used to date these rappers, athletes, people like this, and she was telling me a little bit about her background, whatever. And I was asking, she would say she would go travel to see these guys. And I remember saying to her, well, how often would you go travel to see such and such guy or that? And she said, well, whenever I would get flown in. That was her answer. And I said, okay, well, I had met her in town. She lived in the town in which we met. So this was no fly-in situation. And I said to her, okay, well, why did you stop messing with whatever guy she was telling me about? And she said, well, I don't remember the exact language that she used, but she basically said, I learned what my worth was. I figured out my worth. And she said it in a very proud way, like almost as if she had read it in some self-help book or some course that she had taken. And I could tell by the way that she looked at me when she said it, that she was just looking at me to see if it was registering with me the point that she was making. And it just that just flashed through my mind as I'm talking about this. But this is also something that you hear people say when they feel like they're being offered something that's less than what they want. So someone gets a job offer and you want $150,000, but they only offer you $125,000. Or you want a certain situation with a person or a business or some type of relationship, and someone's offering you less than what you want, and you are contemplating turning it down because you say, well, I know my worth. And listen, you're not wrong to say that. If you want to turn down an offer because it's not what you want $150K and offer you $125,000 and you want $150,000, then perfectly fine to walk away. I'm 100% on board with this concept with two caveats. First caveat is knowing your worth is not just a matter of you rejecting and accepting things when it's time to receive. Knowing your worth is also about, do you remember that same worth when it's time for you to invest? And that's one that is especially important for those of you who are business-minded, those of you who are entrepreneurial. Do you know your worth when it's time to invest in yourself the same way that you know your worth when it's time to get paid? Because a lot of people seem to know their worth a lot when you're receiving money and you're demanding the money. How much of your worth do you know when it's time to put money down on the table and invest in yourself and invest in your growth? Because if you are worth $150K, as far as your, let's say, the salary you want to make or the money you want to make in business, that's completely fine. And you can sub out any number that you want in that equation. Are you investing in yourself like somebody who's worth $150,000 or 150 million, whatever number you want, doesn't matter. Do your investments reflect that same value that your demands for receiving are expressing? And in my experience, with most people, the answer is no. Most people do not invest at the same level in which they want to receive. I'm not saying your investments need to equal your receipts. What I'm saying is you need to invest in yourself with the same mentality, because people who are at a certain level, there are certain things that they do and certain things that they don't do that people who are not at that level either don't do or they are doing. You get it? So a person who's a super high level individual, they can't spend all day watching TV or scrolling on social media mindlessly, because at the level that you want to be at, you just can't afford that kind of time wasting. But if you're still doing stuff that a $50,000 a year person does, but you're saying you're worth $150,000 a year, well, there's some incongruence there. You're out of integrity. And integrity just means that your thoughts, your words, your actions, and the direction that you're going are all going in the same direction. They're all aligned. That's what integrity means. Integrity means just whatever you're presenting on the outside is a reflection of what's happening on the inside. And often people, when it comes to investing in themselves, are completely out of integrity, because you're not making investments that are aligned with the level that you want to be at. And so it doesn't even make sense. So it does make sense, and you're not getting what you want. So that's one side. That's one caveat to it. The other thing, I told you there's two caveats. The other one is, so now we know about how much you need to invest in yourself to get to a certain level. The other one is, when it comes to the receiving that you want to do and what you are worth, are you willing and able to walk away from anything that is not a reflection of what you want? Because if you really believe you're worth a certain amount, that means you must be willing and able, and you must be in practice turning down anything that is not aligned with that value amount, whatever it happens to be. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter the amount. You got to be willing to walk away. So if you say, hey, my value is, let's just use the same number I've already used, 150K. Okay, if somebody offers you 100K, that means you got to turn down 100K. Every time somebody comes to you at 100K, you got to turn it down. Are you doing that? Simple question. Are you turning down 100K every time somebody offers it to you because you know that you're worth 150? Because if you're not, then you can't go around saying I'm worth 150, but I keep accepting 100. What sense does that make? Again, you're out of integrity. There's a misalignment between your thoughts, words, and actions. So when you say that you know your worth, this is important. Are you living up to that worth on a consistent basis in every aspect of your life? That means the inputs, that means the consistent actions, that means the inactions, that means the thought processes, that means your associations, and what you accept versus what you don't accept. So you can't pick and choose with this stuff. And this, again, aligns with what I talked about in the previous video, because if mentally you're inconsistent, then your results are going to be just that, inconsistent. And the way that you think, and the way that you act, and the way that you speak, and the things that you accept and don't accept keep changing, well, no wonder your outcomes are so random. No wonder you're not consistently getting the outcomes that you want. Right? You are setting yourself up for this outcome. It should make perfect sense to you why it's happening. Is everybody clear on this? And this applies to all aspects of life, ladies and gentlemen. I'm using a number as an example here because everybody can understand it, but this applies to everything. It doesn't matter what it is. You can apply it to dating, as the anecdote that I shared with you about this lady that I knew who was telling me that she figured out her worth, so she stopped dating certain types of people. I don't think she was really telling the truth. I think if I didn't live where I lived in a different place, and I met her the same way and said, I'm going to fly you in, she probably would have took the flight, right? So I don't think she really believed it. I think she was just saying that just to see what I was about, or maybe, possibly, she was looking to kind of get out of that life and settle down with somebody who's going to make a wife out of her and make a home with her when she had spent her previous life being a fly-in for the weekend chick. Damn sure it wasn't going to be me. And it didn't become me, by the way. But maybe that's the reason why she said it. Point is, the way that you're thinking, speaking, and behaving all got to be on the same page, and they got to stay on the same page for long enough for you to start getting the outcomes that you say you want. For long enough. There's no time limit to this stuff. It's just as long as it takes. So if it takes a week, if it takes a month, if it takes a year, if it takes the next 5 years, you got to hold the line. And if you're not willing to hold the line, then there shouldn't be any unsolved mysteries when it comes to the outcomes that you get. This is the game. This is how it works. So the topic here again is, what is your worth? And that worth has to reflect all around, folks. All that said, workonyourgameuniversity.com. If you want to work with me directly, have me as your direct coach, get access to all of our trainings, all of our courses, our back-end stuff, and have direct access to me as your coach. The one place where it happens is inside of the university. Again, that's workonyourgameuniversity.com. The link to that and to get more info about what we're doing and how to get started is down below in the description to this video. Work on your game. Dre all day.